This is the story of Robert Hayes, a man who was pronounced dead on the operating table. But what he saw in those moments, what he experienced, will make you question the very nature of existence. Heaven is real. And Robert, though he was no longer alive, was given the privilege of glimpsing its beauty. This is not just a story about life after death. It is a message of hope, faith, and love. A message that will stay with you long after the video ends. Stay with us, because you are about to witness a journey to the afterlife that will change you forever.
Welcome to Life After Death Experience, where we explore the mysteries of the afterlife and the incredible journeys of those who've come face to face with the unknown. If you're captivated by stories of near-death experiences, spiritual revelations, and the hope beyond this life, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. Don't miss out on more life-changing stories that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about life after death. Join our community today.
Robert Hayes had always been an ordinary man. His life was filled with the simple joys of family and work. He was a high school teacher, someone who found fulfillment in shaping young minds, helping teenagers understand the world through the lens of history and literature. Robert was known for his patience, his wisdom, and the way he could reach his students with lessons not just about textbooks, but about life itself. Outside of school, Robert was a family man. He and his wife, Maria, had 2 children, both of whom Robert loved with all his heart. He would spend hours talking with them, sharing stories, teaching them lessons of kindness and compassion. Robert's life was peaceful, comfortably predictable. He knew his place in the world, and he was content. His life, though humble, felt full of meaning. But one ordinary morning, Robert's world came crashing down. The pain started as a dull ache in his chest, nothing too alarming at first. Robert tried to push it aside. After all, life was busy, and he had a family to take care of. But the pain grew more intense, gnawing at him with an insistent force. He couldn't ignore it anymore. He collapsed to the floor as he tried to take a breath, and everything around him began to spin. Maria rushed to his side, panic rising in her chest. She could feel the cold sweat on Robert's forehead as she called 911. The paramedics arrived within minutes, but the ride to the hospital felt like an eternity. Robert tried to speak to her, to reassure her, but his voice was weak. His heartbeat had become erratic, each thud feeling like it could be his last. At the hospital, tests revealed the shocking truth. Robert's heart was failing. The doctors said his arteries were clogged, his heart was struggling to pump blood properly, and if they didn't perform surgery immediately, he would die. This procedure is called angioplasty and stent insertion. In that moment, Robert was filled with a fear he had never known. This wasn't just a heart attack. It was his body slowly shutting down. The doctors could do little to prepare him for what was to come. Robert was rushed into surgery, his body growing weaker with every passing minute. As the anesthesia began to take effect, he tried to hold on to the thoughts of his family, of Maria and the kids, but his consciousness was slipping away. His last thoughts were filled with regret, worry, and a fear of the unknown. The medical team worked tirelessly, their hands steady and practiced, but Robert's heart stopped beating. For several minutes, his body lay lifeless on the operating table. The room grew eerily quiet except for the beeping of machines and the quiet commands of the doctors. They continued to work, trying to bring him back, but it seemed hopeless. Robert's spirit, meanwhile, began to drift away. His body was dead, but his consciousness, his soul, was still very much alive. He felt an inexplicable peace, like floating away from the weight of his earthly body. The pain in his chest was gone. The fear was gone. In its place was a calmness, a stillness that he had never experienced before. He was no longer in the operating room. He was somewhere else, somewhere that felt distant yet familiar. It was like stepping into a dream, but with a clarity so vivid that it felt more real than anything he had ever known. As Robert's spirit drifted, he could no longer hear the frantic voices of the doctors or feel the cold of the operating room. He began to see light, soft, glowing light, shining all around him. He felt drawn to it, like a magnet pulling him forward. He followed the light, not knowing what awaited him, but knowing that something profound was about to unfold. And then, in the blink of an eye, Robert found himself standing in a vast, open space. It was a city like none he had ever imagined. It was beyond comprehension, a place that seemed to transcend all human understanding. The city before Robert was bathed in a golden light, radiating warmth and peace. The buildings stretched into the sky, made of a material that shimmered like liquid gold. The streets were lined with trees, their leaves sparkling as though they had been dusted with diamonds. The air smelled sweet, like the fragrance of 1,000 flowers blooming all at once. It was as if everything in this place was alive, filled with an energy so pure that it could only be divine. Robert took a step forward, unsure of what to do or where to go. But the moment his feet touched the ground, he felt a sense of belonging he had never known. He was not a stranger here. He was home. As he looked around, he noticed the people. There were men and women of all ages, standing, walking, talking, each one radiating a sense of peace and joy. There were no faces twisted in pain, no voices filled with anger or sadness. There was only harmony, a perfect balance of love and understanding. It was a place where everyone belonged, and no one was ever alone. But the most astonishing thing of all was the sky. It was not blue as Robert had known it on Earth. Instead, it was a swirl of colors, golden rays of light, soft pastel hues of pink, purple, and blue, all blending together in a beautiful harmony. The sun shone, but it was not harsh. It was gentle, its rays embracing the earth below in warmth and love. Robert felt his heart swell. This was heaven. He had always believed in it, but now he knew, without a doubt, that it was real. He had crossed into the divine, and nothing would ever be the same again. As Robert stood there, overwhelmed by the beauty of the place, a figure appeared in front of him. It was a man, though unlike any man Robert had ever seen. He was dressed in robes of light, the fabric shimmering and shifting in hues of gold, white, and silver. His face was radiant, glowing with an inner light that was too brilliant to fully look at. Yet, despite the intensity of the light, Robert felt no fear, only warmth, only love. The man's eyes were deep, filled with compassion and understanding. And when he spoke, his voice resonated within Robert's soul, reaching places that words alone could never touch. "Robert," the man said, his voice gentle yet powerful, "you have come to a place of peace. This is heaven, a place of eternal love and joy. But it is not yet your time to stay. There are still things for you to do on earth. There are lives you must touch, people you must help. You must return." Robert's heart faltered. He didn't want to leave this paradise. He didn't want to go back to the pain, the struggles, the burdens of life on earth. But there was something in the man's eyes, a knowing, a deep understanding, that told Robert he could not stay. "Please," Robert pleaded. "I don't want to go back. I'm at peace here. I feel complete whole. Why must I leave?" The figure smiled softly, his expression filled with compassion. "Your journey is not yet over, Robert. You must return to the world. But what I give you now is a glimpse, an understanding of what awaits all those who live in love and faith. This place is real. Heaven is real. And when the time comes for you to return, you will be ready." The figure raised his hand, and suddenly, Robert was shown a vision, an image so vivid, so powerful, that it burned itself into his soul forever. He saw a vast field, golden and eternal, stretching as far as the eye could see. People were walking there, their faces lit with joy, their steps light and free. Families embraced, children laughed and played, and there was no sorrow, no pain, only peace. Then Robert was shown a grand city, far in the distance. It was the same city he had seen earlier, but now He could see it in all its splendor. It was more than just a place. It was a reflection of the love and light of those who inhabited it. The buildings were made of light itself, pulsating with energy, each one more beautiful than the last. And at the heart of the city was a throne of light, so bright and pure that Robert could barely look at it. Upon it sat a figure, a being of such majesty, such wisdom, that Robert felt his heart bow before him. This was the Creator, the source of all that was good, all that was pure, the one who had made all things. And in that moment, Robert understood. Heaven was not a place, it was a state of being, a state of eternal love, peace, and joy. In an instant, Robert was back on the operating table. His chest heaved as he gasped for air, his heart pounding in his chest. The doctors were working frantically, their hands moving quickly as they tried to revive him. His body had been lifeless for several minutes, but now, against all odds, he was alive again. The doctors were stunned. They couldn't explain it, but Robert knew. He had been to heaven. He had seen the beauty that awaited all who lived with faith and love. And now, he had been returned to earth, not to live the same life he had before, but to fulfill his purpose. After Robert's miraculous recovery, his life was never the same. He embraced his family with a depth of love and gratitude he had never known. Every moment was precious, every breath a gift, and he dedicated himself to sharing the message of what he had seen. Heaven was real, faith was real, love was real. He spoke to anyone who would listen, telling them of the peace, the joy, the eternal life that awaited those who lived in faith. He shared the message of love, of understanding, and of hope. If Robert's story moved you, if it made you feel that spark of hope, remember this: heaven is real. It's a place of peace, love, and eternal light. And if you live with faith, love, and grace, it is waiting for you. So, as you go about your day, ask yourself, are you living the life that will take you there? Are you living with purpose, with love, with faith? Share this story with your friends and family. Spread the word. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more incredible stories of hope and faith. Until next time, remember, heaven is real, and it's waiting for you.